Learning outcomes. After studying this module, you shall be able to know what are the biological evidences, how to collect biological evidences, how to preserve biological evidence, and what are the precautions taken during preservation. Introduction. There are numerous types of bodily fluid that may be found at a crime scene or on a victim, all of which have the potential to analyzed and used in identification and incrimination of the perpetrator. The examination of such substance can not only provide clues as to identify the offender but also helps an investigator to develop a detailed picture of the sequence of the events which has occurred. The presence of certain bodily fluids can be excellent indicator of what has occurred. For example, the presence of semen may suggest a recent sexual encounter, whether a consensual or otherwise. Perhaps more obviously, blood at a crime scene is often indicative of some form of physical struggle, assault or even murder. The analysis of bodily fluid may also determine the presence of quantities of certain substances in the body, such as alcohol or toxin. Biological evidences refers to the samples of biological material such as hair, tissues, bones, teeth, blood, semen or other bodily fluids, or to the evidence items containing biological material. The biological evidence which may or may not have been previously analyzed at a forensic laboratory should be retained in an appropriate storage facility until needed for the court or for forensic testing. Such evidence is frequently essential in linking someone to or excluding someone from crime scene evidence. The criminal justice system depends on presenting evidence to the judges and juries to help them reach a conclusion about the guilt or innocence of the defendant. All criminal justice stakeholders including law enforcement officers, lawyers, forensic analysts and fact finders should be certain that the biological evidence they are considering has been properly preserved, processed, stored and tracked to avoid contamination, premature destruction or degradation. In addition, individuals who came into contact with the biological evidences such as evidence custodians need to be confident that it has been packed and labeled in a way that will allow them to efficiently locate relevant evidence for a case. To establish this confidence, all handlers of biological evidence should follow well-defined procedure for its optimal preservation. From forensic point of view, blood, semen, saliva, hair, fiber, urine, fecal matter, etc. are considered as biological evidences. They are present at crime scene by means. Biological samples play an important role in analysis of crime. Biological samples establish a relation between the victim or accused during committing crime. Therefore, collection of biological materials at site plays an important role.
The identification of various biological samples at a scene can be significant. The presence of a certain fluid may be of significance in and of itself. Additionally, biological material can be a source of DNA, which can allow an individual to be linked to a scene and a specific biological sample. DNA can be obtained from a variety of sources including blood, skin cells, semen, hair, saliva, and tissue. Certain types of DNA evidence are more probative than others. The type of object that the DNA sample is deposited on may also be meaningful. Every crime takes place at a certain time, at a certain place or place, and involves a victim and the person or persons committing the crime, which are said to be perpetrators. The perpetrator may or may not use a weapon. Depending upon the case circumstances, biological material is transferred between the scene, the victim, the perpetrator, and the weapon. These biological evidence, which may or may not have been previously analyzed at a forensic laboratory, should be retained in an appropriate storage facility until needed for court or for forensic testing. Such evidence is frequently essential in linking someone to or excluding someone from crime scene evidence. The criminal justice system depends on presenting evidence to judges and juries to help them to reach a conclusion about the guilt or innocence of the defendant. All criminal justice stakeholders, including law enforcement officers, lawyers, forensic analysts, and fact finders, should be certain that the biological evidence they are considering has been properly preserved, processed, stored, and tracked to avoid contamination, premature destruction, or degradation. In addition, individuals who come into contact with biological evidence, such as evidence custodians, need to be confident that it has been packed and labeled in a way that will allow them to efficiently locate relevant evidence for a case. To establish this confidence, all handlers of biological evidence should follow well defined procedures for its optimal preservation. Next is evidence recognition. The first step in a criminal investigation is determining which samples warrant further testing. This phase is crucial to the outcome of the investigation and very challenging, as crime scenes can be both complex and chaotic. Hence, an expert or experienced investigator who systematically evaluates the scene is an invaluable resource. Recognition is the ability to identify probative evidence at the scene or in the laboratory, scattered among potentially vast quantities of reducted, irrelevant, or unrelated items. For instance, collecting 20 blood stains from the vicinity of a stabbing victim may not point to the perpetrator. The recognition process involves basic forensic principles such as pattern recognition and analysis and physical properties observation. Naturally, if crucial evidence is not recognized, collected, and preserved, its value to the trier of the fact will be lost. Documentation of a DNA evidence, the location and condition of any biological evidence must be thoroughly documented before its collection. Careful evidence documentation at the crime scene, autopsy room, and forensic laboratory is essential. In any criminal or civil investigation, documentation has great bearing on whether the evidence can later be introduced in court. Evidence should not be processed or moved until its original condition and other relevant information have been recorded. Several different means of documentation are available. Generally, the use of more than one method is advised. Let us now see and understand the list of biological samples which are usually encountered during crime scene investigation, such as blood, semen, saliva, vomit, sweat, hair, fiber, urine, fecal matter, etc. Site of biological evidences. First is blood. The nature of blood is that it is found to be red in color on movable surfaces like weapon, glass, paper, cloth, soil, vehicle, wood, etc. On immovable surfaces like dead body, wall, or surfaces, windows, etc. Any articles like water tap, hanky, towel, bed sheet, pillow, blanket, certain mat also examined at the time of collection at crime scene because criminal may come the in contact with the article during committing crime. Next is semen. It is found to be white or yellowish stretchy fluid of the body. Semen is mainly found in the cases of sex assault, rape, etc. on inner garments or clothes of victim as well as accused, bed sheets, blankets, etc. Semen is also considered as evidence and check all suspected places on the cloth. In some cases, the fluid may be difficult to see with the naked eye. As previously mentioned, certain alternative light sources can often visualize latent evidences, particularly traces of biological fluids. Ultraviolet light causes semen to fluoresce, indicating its location, while not damaging the evidence itself. The acid phosphatase test is one of the most common methods used to detect the presence of semen due to the high level of enzyme in human semen. However, acid phosphatase is present elsewhere in the body, meaning the test may react positively with other bodily fluids. Therefore, this should only be used as presumptive test for semen. Prostate-specific antigen, also known as SPA or P30, is a glycoprotein produced in the prostate gland. This is equally useful in detecting the presence of semen, though is once again only a presumptive test as PSA is also found in urine. The microscopic detection of sperm is more confirmatory method of discovery. Using microscopic equipment, it is often possible to view the sperm cells, proving their presence. However, the older a biological sample is, the further decomposition may have progressed. Therefore, fresh and well-preserved samples are preferred. Semen consists of two components, spermatozoa and seminal fluid. Spermatozoa are the male generative cells, and a normal human ejaculate can contain from several million upward to 80 million spermatozoa cells per ml. Next, we have saliva. It is white, frothy, and concentrated fluid and containing a mixture of antigen and enzymes. Saliva is found on clothes, cigarette butt, bottles, cup, hanky, and also in the case of biting during assault, kidnapping, hanging, quarrel, fighting, tobacco splitting, or spit, and sometimes saliva is secreted continuously from the mouth due to disease. Saliva also play important role in solving many cases. So always check the suspected area or corner where possibility is maximum. Collecting a saliva sample from a suspect has become the most common method of collection when carrying out DNA testing and comparison, as it is simpler and far less intrusive than obtaining a blood sample. A cotton swab is rubbed along the inside of suspect's cheek, collecting a sample of saliva and epithelial cells. Saliva will also be of great significance if found at crime scene, such as on the victim of a sexual assault, on the cigarette end, or around the rim of a glass or bottle. Due to the high levels of amylase present in saliva, testing for this enzyme is a presumptive test for saliva. However, this enzyme is also found in lower levels in other bodily fluids. Various chromatography and spectroscopy methods are frequently used in the extensive analysis of such samples. Next, we have vomit. It is yellow, green, black color liquid containing undigested or partially digested food matter. It is found on the earth or cloth in the case of poisoning and in some critical diseases, etc. Next, we have hair. It is a thin and dark black in color, seems like thread. Hair is also considered as evidence in case of assault and also transferred by the means of contact. Next, we have fiber. It is present in different color and structure, soft and delicate by nature. Many types of fiber is found at the crime scene, like animal fiber, wood fiber, vegetable fiber, and is transferred by contact. Next is urine. It is transparent yellowish liquid which is excreted by urethra. Urine is present on the clothes during assault and hanging cases. It is also helpful in solving the case. Next we have fecal matter. Fecal color is dependent upon the age, human and diet. Mainly it is yellow in color. It is found rarely at the crime scene. Now we will learn about the collection and preservation of biological sample. First is blood. Colored photograph of blood stain from every direction is taken because photographs helps in reconstruction of crime scene again. Always remember that each sample of blood are packed in different paper or packets after drying. If wet, then it is sent to the forensic science laboratory for examination. Wet blood stain are dried for better preservation of blood sample. If blood stain present in immovable articles, then first take colored photographs for establishing same scene and also collect the sample of blood with the help of sharp knife and scalpel and preserve in glass bottle, polythene or paper bag. If possibility of presence of blood of two or more than two persons are suspected, then different samples, different weapons are used in each time and collected blood stain in the separate packets or bags of each person. If blood is found in liquid form at crime scene, then dropper is used to collect blood and blood is preserved in glass or plastic bottle after adding anticoagulant, which actually prevents the coagulation of blood, like fluoride salt, heparin, sodium citrate, etc., and also stored in cool and dark places. Blood samples are destroyed when directly exposed to the light, heat, and wind, therefore protected. Collection of blood sample of every suspected person are done to relate the crime. Doctors can collect or preserve blood on request of investigator for analysis of case. During postmortem, doctor can preserve blood for investigation and further detailed analysis. Often accused wash their clothes or articles where blood may present or suspected. In this condition, chemical test should be performed by the crime scene investigator. Always preserve suspected article of blood stain where possibility of presence of blood is maximum. Next we have semen. Collection of semen stain has much precaution. Semen converts into brittle after drying. So, if cloth or other article are not handled properly or folded it, then spermatozoa are broken into pieces. Preservation of semen stain always performed after complete dryness of stain. If stain is wet, then bacterial growth is started and putrefaction may occur due to presence of protein in the semen. Any infection in testes due to the presence of some bacteria also secretes liquid like seminal stain from testes, which creates doubt about semen. It is always preserved in air bag, not in airtight bag or plastic bag. If a stain present on immovable or small article, then preserved whole article or the cloth should be sent to forensic science laboratory. If stain present on immovable article, then sharp knife or scalpel is used to scratch the stain and packed in a clean glass bottle. Seminal stain may be present on the pubic hair, so it is also preserved in bag or clean plastic tube. If seminal stain present on any body part, then take cotton swab is taken, dipped in saline water. Then cotton applies on body and prepare cotton swab. After that, drying the cotton swab and preserved in a bag. Never touch sample with bare hand because it can contaminate and spoil the specimen. In fresh seminal stain, live spermatozoa are present, so keep safe the cloth and send properly to the forensic science laboratory. Next we have saliva. Saliva plays an important role in crime investigation because DNA profiling or grouping test can be performed by saliva due to the presence of antigen in it. Blood group can detect by saliva, although saliva is contaminated by lipstick or blood. If saliva is present as dry stain, then wet with the help of normal water and make cotton swab of it and then preserved in a tube or bag. If chewing gum, tobacco, spit, etc. are present at crime scene, then preserved in airtight bag as such. Next we have urine. If urine present at crime scene, then preserved carefully. Urine and any liquid which creates doubt about the urine should be collected in plastic or glass vial. If urine is present on cloth, then dry it under shade and preserve it as soon as possible and then it should be sent to the forensic science laboratory. Next we have fecal matter. If fecal matter is present at the crime scene, then preserved in plastic bottle. Whenever collection of fecal matter is difficult, collect it after drying. Next we have vomit. If vomit matter present at the crime scene, then preservation of it also be done. If vomit mixed with soil, then vomit preserved as it is with the help of spatula. Vomit matter collect in plastic bottle and with suitable things after wearing gloves. We have then hair and fiber. Often hair and fiber are present at the crime scene. These are very minute or thin evidence, so it wants more precaution during handling. If vegetable fiber, animal fiber, and synthetic fiber also present at crime scene, then preserve these fibers in separate plastic bottle or bag and also labeled with name and source. Hair or something seems like hair and create doubt, then preserve that also for further examination. Fibers and hair present in glass or plastic tube with the help of forceps. The entire preserved sample is labeled with place of crime time of crime, collection of time of evidence, date, investigator's name, and seal of the departmental seal for maintaining the chain of custody. Next, we have physical evidence. When collecting physical evidence, it is preferable that the entire object be submitted to the laboratory with question stain intact. If removal or transport of an item is not possible, the stain may be cut out or, when necessary, scraped from the item. Small stain should be collected on a water-damped, cotton-tipped applicator that must be air-dried before packaging. Due to the sensitive nature of DNA testing, care must be taken not to contaminate the sample by the individual collecting the sample. This includes wearing gloves, mask, and refrain from sneezing or coughing on the sample. Physical evidence for serological and DNA analysis should be packaged in paper bags, envelopes, or cardboard boxes as appropriate to the sample type. For example, blood scrubbing should be enclosed in folded paper packets, which are capable of containing the evidence without loss. Envelopes, paper bags, and pillboxes do not provide a suitable enclosure because crabbing can leak out at seam or openings. Tape is also an unsuitable method to retrain scrabbings. Plastic bags and airtight containers are unacceptable because they create an environment that can be damaging to the biological evidences. Because heat, humidity, and sunlight all have destructive effects, evidences packages should always be maintained in a cool, dry location following collection. Items from separate sources like victim or suspect clothing or those suspected to have stain from different donors should always be packaged separately. These should not be handled excessively, especially in stained areas. All evidence items must be completely dried without heat or sunlight before packaging for delivery. Items with wet stain should be spread out on clear paper to dry because if they are folded wet, multiple stain can be created from one stain. Air drying should be accomplished in a manner which prevents cross contamination of stain and loss of other evidences types like hair, fibers, or other trace evidences. Proper drying is particularly important to minimize the degradation of DNA. Sexual assault evidence collection kits. The GBI Sexual Assault Evidence Collection Kit is prepared commercially. These kits have been adapted to comply with the statewide medical examination protocol developed for sexual assault victims. The kit is sufficient to collect adequate sample from the victim's body to perform semen or male DNA testing. The instruction sheet provided in each kit is explicit and complete for proper evidence collection. Inadequate collection and preservation of these samples can eliminate the potential for suspect identification. No tubes are provided to obtain a known blood sample from the victim during the medical examination. In 2003, these kits were produced to include envelopes and swabs to collect buccal swabs as a known reference sample. If blood samples are taken, they should not be placed inside the sexual assault kit itself and should be packed separately. Before analysis, if it is not possible to completely air dry sample in the field, they can be dried upon return to the laboratory. Make sure evidence is clearly labeled before it is placed into a laboratory hood or swab dryer to finish the drying process. If the item is large, try to dry one evidence item at a time in the hood. The dried evidence can then be returned to the paper envelopes or bags. The next decision that will likely need to be made is how should the evidence be stored until it is analyzed. Some types of evidence may require that the biological sample be removed from the surrounding material before storage. This would be done to minimize contact of the biological sample with potentially harmful material. For example, leather substrates may contain compounds that tend to destroy biological samples and inhibit PCR reactions. For this reason, it may be wise to remove a blood stain from the leather by swabbing the stain as soon as possible rather than cutting out the stain for analysis. Certain plant material and soil are examples of other materials that might need to be separated from biological samples as soon as possible.
Let us summarize what we have learned in this module. Biological samples or evidence play an important role in crime investigation. Carefully, samples are collected and preserved and sent for analysis. Boxes, bags, polythene tube, contaminated bottles never used for collecting and preserving samples. Blood, semen, saliva, urine always help in solving cases. So, every minute samples and evidences collected and preserved carefully. During investigation, all corners, suspected area and whole scene properly checked and documented.